This executive order is for allowing people who are complaining about your tariffs to be permanently labeled as whiny, retarded, sad little bitches.
Hold it. This is a good one. Is everybody listening?
What I find so frustrating about the conversation around tariffs is that we all agree on the problem. We all agree that the deindustrialization of America led to the downward mobility of the American working class, deaths of despair, people working multiple jobs and not being able to afford the American dream. We all agree that it is deeply unfair for the American middle class to be bearing the burden of unfair tariffs from other countries. We have already seen $1.2 trillion in manufacturing invested in this country since January 21st. Now, how long is Wall Street going to keep trying to punish this president for standing the American working class? I don't know, but I can tell you that the view from the street is people cannot believe that there is a president who is working for them, who is putting them first and telling Wall Street to go screw itself.
25% of the IRS is to be slashed. It's going to be interesting seeing liberal commentators try to defend the existence of the IRS at large. What they're going to do is they're going to come out and say, well, Donald Trump is slashing IRS positions. He's putting people out of work. It's going to be hilarious to watch them and the IRS of all fucking groups in the world. So it's going to be very, very funny to see what happens. Myself, I would cut it even more than that. 25%, that's nothing. I'd cut it by 90% myself. You can just have a single-page form for every American. Here's what you made. Here's what you owe. Ta-da! It's as simple as that. Unfortunately, we don't have that particular system at hand. The IRS being slashed by 25% is very, very good news. This is another win for the Trump administration. It's not a huge win because it's only 25%. Again, I would have preferred 90%. That being said, I'll take what I can get. At the very least, as far as the administration goes, it's definitely a W, not an L.
Now, the good news for Michelle Obama, her pretend friends in the mainstream media, they did her a massive favor by promoting her early videos. Her interview with someone named Is It Ray or Isa Ray, Aya's Ray. Who gives a damn? It doesn't matter what her name is. Her captivating interview with some lady named Ray hit 189,000 views. Thanks to the incessant promotion from the mainstream media, the interview now has over 200,000 views. Not bad, right? You're damn right it's not bad. I knew this would be a success. Viewers just needed time to adapt to Michelle's bland delivery and complete lack of charisma. This podcast is going to break records. Woo! Yes, yes, yes. You see, the media is willing to talk about you as long as you're generating traffic, interest. But as soon as people lose interest, or in the case of Michelle Obama, as soon as people figure out that you're painfully boring, those pretend friends in the media, they disappear. And once the promotion from the media disappeared, so did Michelle Obama's audience. Thing is, you can't hide it. You cannot hide a lack of commitment. The camera shows everything. Viewers are not stupid. People know when you're truly dedicated and when you're coasting.
Steve, there's no deep state.
No.
Come on, Steve.
No. Mm-mm.
There's no deep state.
What is the deep state?
Okay, so what do you think when you think about what World Economic Forum Klaus Schwab is doing and his campaign Build Back Better being the same campaign, identical word as Biden's? Do you know how many videos were taken down for repeating what Hillary Clinton said in 2016, that the election was rigged? You know how many videos were taken down? 0. YouTube didn't take down any videos that they said 2016 election was rigged and Russia collusion. 0 videos. They all stayed up. Why? Let's just say a person says that they voted for Hillary. Okay? But she said the same thing Trump said. 3.5 years later, she funded it, and now we're supposed to sit there and say he's the bad character, not her? You want me to believe that?
Yep, that just happened at UC Davis, where conservative commentator and former police officer Brandon Tatum was hosting one of those prove me wrong tabling events. And what happens next? Antifa thugs show up, ransack the event, rip down the banners, flip the tables, stole the equipment, and shove TPUSA student reps like a bunch of rabid animals. And of course all this happened as police officers just sat there and let the whole thing transpire. Absolutely frickin' disgraceful. You have an event here that the Officer Tatum hosts that's all about ideas and conversating and debating. But they're not interested in trying to defeat the Officer Tatum's arguments. No, they just want to erase his presence entirely. This is the culture that the left wing has created. And universities like UC Davis, Berkeley, and other left-wing institutions, this is the monster that they have created. Pure and simple, these kids aren't being educated, they are being indoctrinated. They're being indoctrinated into a cult of rage.
The tears are steadily flowing as the ratings are circling the pooper on the Morning John. What an embarrassment. What an absolute embarrassment. In the industry of cable news, it does not get more humiliating than being beaten by CNN. Back in November, after the Trumper defeated cackling Cam Harris in what normal people were calling a landslide, once they saw the clear rejection of the woke fungus, John Scarborough and Mika Bazooka, they spent a romantic weekend at Mar-a-Lago. As they spent their romantic weekend at Mar-a-Lago asking the Trumper how they could be more appealing to normal people, they overlooked their biggest obstacle: credibility. Even though John and his bazooka are pretending to be normal, no one believes them. Headline at Yahoo: Morning Joe soars in the ratings war and doubles CNN's morning audience. First of all, doubling anything at CNN is far from impressive. If MSNBC doubled the ratings of Wolf Blitzer, woof, 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 it means that MSNBC managed to double nothing to almost nothing. Earlier this week, we were talking about ratings at CNN. I needed to find the most recent ratings for Caitlin Collins, or as she is known at family reunions, Katie who? When I need ratings for Caitlin Collins, I can always rely on the U.S. television database to find these ratings. But for some reason, the most recent ratings available for the Morning John are from November 20th. I wonder why. I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that the Morning John can't draw flies to the fresh turd that is circling the John. During the first quarter of the year, when ratings for the Morning John were supposedly surging, Joey and Mika averaged 64,000 viewers in the key demo. Now, that number alone is bad enough. Joy Reid was averaging a similar number in prime time, and she is no longer cashing woke welfare checks. But what makes this even worse is the fact that CNN is outperforming the Morning John in the demo. This is the first time in 3 years that a polished turd on CNN has beaten the supreme turd in the ratings. The question is why? How did Joey and Mika get here? America has abandoned these networks. America has abandoned the woke media. And for some reason, they are still resistant to change. As you can see with Joey and Mika, it's not always enough to change your mentality, or in their case, pretend to change. If CNN, MSNBC want to rebound, they need to change host. They need to feature people that America can trust.